The workouts for the online qualifier are coming out tonight, so I'm very excited. We got to see what we're going to be doing, Myra and I, and by we, Myra, but me, because I'm going to be spiritually, physically, and mentally involved in this whole thing. So the workouts are coming out tonight, so there's a lot of anxiety going on, and we're very excited to see what is the next 4 workouts, because these 4 workouts determine if she's going to be going to the CrossFit Games. She's going to complete these 4 workouts. She has 5 days to complete them. She can do as many times as she wants. And from there, we, she gets stacked up against everybody else. And if she makes it to the top 20, she gets an invite to the CrossFit Games. This is a big, big thing for Myra. But the funny thing is that she had a plan kind of going into this season of what she wanted to do, especially after last year. She was on a team. She made it to regionals on a team. And then she had a great experience. It gave her a lot of confidence that she can kind of compete at that level. And she thought, I want to go as an individual next year. And then all of a sudden, life kind of happens, right? She turned 35, so now she's in a master's category. Actually, before she turns 35, they create a master's category from 35 to 39. Prior to that, it was 40 to 44, so she wasn't even in a thought, and now all of a sudden they throw this monkey wrench in. She goes, oh wow, 40 to 39 or 35 to 39, now I'm in a master's category. Now I have a legitimate shot of making an individual run at this, not just at the games, not just maybe trying to qualify for regionals. Then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, do I go team or do I do individual? And then all of a sudden the team that she was on kind of dissolves, and then she wouldn't be able to do the regional weekend anyway, so it kind of pushed her in the direction where she needed to go in order for her to do this individual qualifier and then potentially make it to the CrossFit Games. So every time you make a plan, sometimes life says, well, you had a plan. It's time for you to create an audible. And the less attachment you have to whatever your plan was, the more quickly you can adapt to the new circumstances that have been given to you, because as I said before, you can't control the circumstances, you can only control your actions based upon those circumstances. You can control your attitude, but you can control your actions, but you can't control your consequences either. So life gives you a circumstance, you audible, something happens, you audible again based upon that. It's counterpunching, okay? And in the world of business, in the world of relationships, in the world of sport, it's counterpunching. You give something, I'll give you it back. You give me something new, I give you something back. You give me something new, I give you something back. It's like tennis, it's like chess. It's funny how sport actually juxtaposes like business, relationships the same way. It's about that give and take, give and take, give and take. Now in sport, the last person to give is sometimes the winner, but in obviously relationships, business, work, you got to continue to then kind of go about what you were doing. You can't just be like, I win and then that's it. I get the coffee from here on out, guys. So it's definitely a different scenario when we're stepping outside of sport, but this is a very good microcosm for what happens in the real world. Now, here's the thing, a lot of athletes that I'm seeing nowadays define themselves so much by their performance, right? And Ben Bergeron, who's a very high level coach, he's coached he's coached I think 4 or 5 CrossFit Games champions, Matt Fraser and Katrin David's daughter, the last 2. And he said something very profound the other day. He goes, you're gonna go out there and confidence isn't based upon the idea that you're going to win. Because Matt Fraser had the most dominating performance that's ever happened at the CrossFit Games, and he only won 2 workouts. Or he placed second on most workouts. He never placed like in first place. He won like maybe the sprint event or something like that. But he knew going into every event he had a good chance of not winning. Like that was the overwhelming thing, that you're not going to win. How is it possible for you to be confident when you know you're not going to be winning? It's because he was confident in the idea that regardless of what he did, if he brought everything he had, he was complete. He was awesome, regardless of what the performance kind of stacked up against everybody else. He knew that once he gave his all, he was a winner. And I think that's something that you have to take to heart, because in that moment you might fail, but you're not a failure. I'll say that again. Just because you fail does not make you a failure. The failure, okay, is only if you quit, right? And I'm not telling you to keep bashing your head against the wall. What I'm saying is, like, don't quit on life, right? Because you're going to get like opportunities and you're going to piss them away. You're going to mess up, and you're not going to do it right. But don't let that deter you from making that audible and going to the next step, because I know from my own experiences, people that I've worked with, it's not always that first chance. It's you do that, you go through with it, you fail, but you learn something in the process. And that sets you up for something a year, 2 years, 10 years down the road. And then all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, I've seen this situation before. I messed up the first time, it ain't happening this time. And that's where the confidence comes in. The confidence comes in that says, I put in the sweat equity, I've gone through the experiences, and now I know, not just I hope, but I know when I step through this door, I'm gonna be successful. So I'll leave you with this. A lot of times in our lives, we ask for something that we may not have the ability to do. But that's okay. If you commit to something, you're not gonna have all the answers. You apply for that job, you look at the credentials. I could do most of those things, you get the job. Do you go through with it? Yeah. Why? Because once you step through and you make that leap, everything will fall into alignment, because you are now in the position where what you could have done before is a have to. I am now in alignment with the things that I have to do in order for me to complete what it is that I want to do. And then before, when you were like, I really don't want to, look for anything or study or really spend extra time here, when you make that leap, it goes from I could to I'm definitely going to do it now, because now this is my purpose. And when you step into your purpose, those little bullshit things that you have to do become your purpose, become fun to do, become have to do things, not I could be doing those. It becomes one of those things where you empower yourself to say, I'm taking the life by the wheel and I'm steering it in the course that I want to go. Transformational Thursday for today. Thank you guys for staying. Enjoy your evening.